We are not going to investigate property crimes.
Why would you announce that?
Money.
I
Well-
know, but why you tell the bad guys we're not going to investigate?
Let me get there.
She wanted more tax.
That did not happen in October when that headline broke. That happened in May. How do I know? Because I asked Chief Kirkpatrick, I said, Andrew, you sure you want to go that route? And she said, I don't have the money. I've got to make choices. I said, I don't know if that's a choice I'd make. In June, my phone started ringing. Sheriff, we need help. They won't come and investigate our crimes. I know we live in the city, but no one will come and investigate this crime. Technically, and it's not technically, it is the way it is. The law said it is written the way it is. If there's a crime that happens in Spokane County and it's not being addressed, the Sheriff's Office will take a look at that. In July, I had a discussion with a city councilman for Spokane and said, you have a firestorm heading your way, you better fix this one. Yeah, well, I was told that that was a law enforcement's perspective. I'll never forget that. In August, I told Mary Werner, I says, you have a firestorm coming your way, you need to fix this. In October, when she called me down to her office and said, oh my God, because the headline broke, I said, I told you in August you got a problem. And there's not a dang thing anybody's going to be able to do to fix that now. So in 2012, when we had a 52% increase in residential burglaries, yeah. We had children hiding under the beds when people broke into their house. How many of you remember that one? Grandmothers being thrown out on the floor. I went to Commissioner Todd Milkey, and Todd was the chair at that time, and said, Todd, it's going to cost $55,000, but it ends today. We are going to get control of this. And we formed a burglary task force. In about 2.5 months, arrested 214 people. It was so effective that when we followed a group into Pend Oreille County, they committed 2 burglaries there. We arrested them in Bonner County, Idaho. They said to the detectives, the reason we went to Pend Oreille County is because we know you're arresting everybody in Spokane County. Now that's the way it should be. But what's our problem in Spokane County? We have raised a generation of criminals that realize one thing and one thing only. There is no consequences for committing crimes in Spokane County. There isn't. When that individual that broke into that house with those children, he had already been popped for 50 burglaries, and when we recaught him, he had 35 more. So why is it that we are having this type of problem? How is it that tonight, when that deputy is in your neighborhood, or that police officer is in your neighborhood, and they roll up on that individual, may or may not be in a bike, it's a little snowy, but if he's got a backpack and dark clothing on, and they check him, and he shouldn't be in your neighborhood, he doesn't live there, doesn't know anybody there, and he has warrants, and they don't arrest him because they have warrants, because the jail's overcrowded. You know what that deputy or that officer knows for certain? In about 2 to 3 hours, he or his partners coming on day shift will start taking what kind of reports? Burglary, car theft, vehicle prowling.
So your answer is a bigger jail, but what else is the answer in order to have criminals not want to be criminals in Spokane County?
Well,
Because let's say the jail's out of sight. I know you're fighting for it, but let's say no jail. So what else do we do?
what else do you do? All right. Well, we've already done it.
No, there's gotta be
Oh,
more.
no, we've already done it.
Then
How
why
many-
are criminals still robbing pharmacies and thinking it's safe to live down here in the streets?
Because there is no accountability, they're not
No
being held
consequence for doing
in jail, okay? So, as far as jail overcrowding, we're trying to think outside the box. In 2007, when Commissioner Richard and I, jail captain and lieutenant in charge of that, went down to Hillsborough, Florida to take a look at their jail systems. We looked at Hillsborough, Florida's jail system. And in that tour, they had this thing called a community correction center. And what that was is they taught drug and rehab, alcohol rehab, parenting classes, all those type of things.
Public stocks.
What's that?
We should use public stocks, stick them up in public, throw out there.
Right? And I pulled one of the inmates out of that class and asked him a very blunt question. Does this stuff work? Does this really work? His answer to me was, you know, Sheriff, if I had this when I was 18, 20, I might not be 40 and in jail. Now, there's a lot of people like to take credit for what they call smart justice. You've heard that term, right? Well, Mark Richard and I are the ones that brought that philosophy to Spokane. Drug and alcohol issues, mental health issues. Well, there's one that the government's totally stepped away from.
Yeah.
Okay? At the national level, especially at the state level. Where do you think all those people that they kicked out of Eastern went?
Right here. Right here in River City.
The streets. And there's a reason why that the Spokane County Jail is the only jail certified to deal with mental health issues in the state of Washington. Because we had to break that revolving door. So we do take a look at all that. But, you know, here's the other aspect of the issues. We can continue to put our head in the sand and say, no, we're not going to fix the systems, or we can fix the systems. What we have done to the generation coming up is criminal. What's the last count? 17 trillion?
Actually, it's more like 220.
They've got to do the unfunded.
Okay? You know what else we've done to them? Anybody heard of the problem with the infrastructure in the United States? The fact it's crumbling around our ears? And we don't want to pay for that either. That next generation is going to get to do that. In 1995, the Spokane County Jail was identified as being overcrowded. 1995. You worked there. In 1997, Geiger Corrections became the overflow for the Spokane County Jail. Geiger Corrections was never designed to be a jail. If you really want to see something scary, go out there. Take a look at what those people work in. Since that time, we've debated and we've squawked and we have pushed it off and we have pushed it off. I think it was the second week of January was, what, 675 in the jail? 675. It was designed for 462. If I'm not mistaken, 700 is pretty much the max. So we're 25 beds for max. And we still don't want to do anything. And the reason that is, folks, is it takes leadership to fix the problems. It takes the willingness not to be politically correct or worry about your next election to fix the problem.
How many beds do you want?
You know, that has been pared down, and let's
No,
take
I'm not talking about tear down. What do you need? What do you need to fix the problem?
what do we need to fix the problem?
Not, this is, what would you really, if you just won the lottery and could do it yourself, what would you do?
I'd probably do at least 1,400 beds
Is that all?
total. Because that's kind of where we started. You know, folks,